being on the force for 25 years, would you personally have stopped Officer Chevin when he was kneeling on George Floyd? What do you think about Black Lives Matter? What is your message to the bad cops?
The message?
Yeah, to the bad cops. To the bad police officers.
Boy. How do I feel about what?
About defunding the police department. Say your name, you don't have to.
Oh, it's Bowie, B-U-I, is the last and Lila is the first.
What do you think about Black Lives Matter?
What do I think about the movement? Or
Yeah.
about the people? Can you be more specific?
About the movement.
About the movement?
Yeah.
I think that it's a discussion that needed to be had, right? And obviously this is a call for change. This is a call for discussion, a call for us to listen to each other. I mean, everyone has a right to express their opinion, and we're here to make sure that you're afforded the opportunity to say what you need to say in a safe manner. And really, that's it. I mean, we're here to be neutral and to, make sure that it's safe for you as well as the general public.
And two, what do you want to see from the demonstrators?
What do I want to see? I'd love to see me personally.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd love to actually have a decent conversation with demonstrators, right? Versus there being such anger. Okay. I understand where the anger is coming from, but you can't lump everybody into the same group, right? And then tag everybody the same way. And that's the same for police. Okay, I've been doing this for 25 years, and I think that I've done the best that I can to try to help people every single day and to make a positive impact on people's lives. And so I'd have to say, it is hurtful to see people in my own community treat me this way, because I have given it every effort to be a good police officer, and I was recruited by this police department from this community, mind you. I am an immigrant from Vietnam.
Vietnam, oh wow.
Yes. I came here not speaking any English.
Oh wow.
I grew up in Dos Rios, if you guys know the housing development there, inbound, 12. I went to Hiram Johnson High School main campus. So I am a product of this community. And the Sacramento Police Department went out and recruited people like me to be a part of the police department, to represent this community. So we are doing a lot to create change, to have us reflect the community. We do a lot with training, we do a lot with recruiting, we do a lot with our policy. And so I have to say it's unfair to, like I said, be painted with that broad brush when we have made a lot of efforts to be what this community needs.
Can I ask you one last question?
Absolutely.
This is a question I've wanted to ask a cop.
Yeah.
Being on the force for 25 years, would you personally have stopped Officer Chevin when he was kneeling on George Floyd?
Okay, so that their policies and training are completely different there versus California. I only know what we do in California, so it's hard for me to speak to what their state allows them to do. Okay. So I'm going to refrain from answering that, because that's really it would be an unfair assessment on my part.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, do you think it was justified?
The same thing, same circumstances, right?
Okay.
So I mean, that's something that that's where they have a DA and their Department of Justice, their State Department of Justice. They need to go in and they need to investigate that fully. So that's not for me far over here on the West Coast to make a determination without having all the facts that that they get access to.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's me making a judgment on you. If you did something, I have no understanding of the before and afters, or you know what I mean, and then making a judgment on you.
But then it goes back to like, did he deserve to die for even if he did something wrong? Did he deserve to die?
Nobody deserves to die. Okay, that's kind of putting. I don't think that's worded correctly, because I don't think anybody deserves to die.
Well, there is a death penalty.
Well,
so I'm just saying, in that situation, if he had done something wrong.
Okay, that's where their peers have made a decision, and if the people in that state have made it lawful for the death penalty to occur, then the people have spoken, right, for that state.
Okay, because I just know people in Sacramento would probably feel safer knowing that the cops could say, yeah, we don't think that should have been allowed. Because then they, even if that behavior happened over there,
sure,
then they could feel a little bit comfortable knowing that people wouldn't want that.
I can tell you that our training here, okay, and in California, we do not train people to put their knees on a person's neck. Okay, we don't train that.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Is there any question?
As a community, or just being on the force for being on the force for 25 years and seeing how the community has grown, do you see that racism has been an up and coming problem within our system still? More or less?
What do you mean, the system? Like the entire community?
Like the rise and fall of, I guess, racism in Sacramento and the relationship between the communities and our cops, police officers.
Actually, I think it's actually become a lot better. I can only speak for this community, right? Because this is where I work. This is where I have personal contacts with people just like you too. Okay, I've enjoyed this dialogue.
Me
seriously.
too. I appreciate you doing it. I've asked other cops and they haven't done it.
Well,
Or
you
police
know,
officers,
not
sorry.
yeah. I mean, sometimes it's hard because there is that anger projected at us.
Oh, yeah.
That it's hard to, put your guard down because you are being verbally attacked.
Yes, yeah.
And I mean, a couple weeks ago, I had rocks thrown at me. People driving by and throwing rocks at us on the street. We're just riding our bikes and they're throwing rocks at us. They're throwing bottles at us, glass bottles, water bottles. So people just, like I said earlier, I understand the anger, but would you attack other people that way? You know what I mean? So if you're lumping us all into one group, it's unfair to lump any group of people into one group and say, this whole group is racist. You know what I mean? Or this whole group of officers brutalize people. No, that's not true. Just as, it's not true for any other group, any other race, it's not true. It doesn't apply to everybody, right? So to have that projected on us over and over and over again, it's frankly unfair.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
It's actually about gang violence.
Yeah.
Do you experience, like, have you been on those calls?
Gang violence?
Yeah.
I have been over the years to shootings.
Yeah.
Yeah, and experienced people brutalizing each other. Okay, and then we get called after the fact. Okay, so yes, I have experienced gang violence.
Do you think that fits into these protests?
No, and I don't. So that's why I don't lump people together. So
Okay.
I understand there is a difference between people who peacefully protest, and then you have the rioters, and then you have the looters, and then you have the people who are involved in gang violence. They're different groups of people, right, with different agendas, and we need to understand that. I do.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
How do you feel about defunding the police department?
How do I feel about what?
About defunding the police department.
And just putting some more money into our community.
Okay, so this is how I feel about it.
Okay.
There are certain things that, for some reason, one reason or another, the police department has been tasked with dealing with mental health issues and homelessness, okay? Because this is kind of in your face. When people are at work or where they live, and you've got an RV parked in front of your house for a whole week, and they're homeless and they're living out of their RV and they're refusing to leave, well, who do they call? They call the police department, right? You've got like an empty field next to you, and people are now pitching tents, and they're living next to you, next to your house that you bought and own, and they're using the lot to live, and they're also using it as a toilet, and then they call the police department. So, unfortunately, for some reason, these calls have been kind of pushed onto us, and we're really, when it comes down to it, aren't the appropriate people to have to handle these. So I am personally in support of, and I think a lot of people are within the departments, in support of having the outside help to come in and actually provide the mental health services, okay? To provide the, the connections for people to get off the streets, okay? I mean, we bike officers, we run into homeless folks here all the time, and there are countless people that we've helped, connect them with services so that they can, find housing. So that's the other side of policing that I wish, I implore that you guys actually look into and actually acknowledge that out of everything that we do, I understand that, we do get into shootings, but that's such a small percentage of everything else that we do as a profession to help people.
Like, the shootings are a small percentage.
The shootings are a very small percentage, and I mean, if you look at the statistics, I mean, I'd like for us to actually, this whole thing is emotional, but we also have to look at facts as well, right?
Yeah.
And base a lot of, our actions and our opinions on facts and not just emotion.
Do you mean the police shootings are a small part, or
in comparison to what we do?
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. The volume of calls that we handle, right?
Okay.
I mean, I've never shot anybody. I don't think you've ever shot anybody. And it's been 25 years. Most of us we go through our careers without ever having to shoot anybody. And that's just a fact, okay? But shootings they're polarizing, right? They're huge deals. And so, they're gonna get a lot of attention, and they're gonna get very emotional reactions. And so that's why, there's a lot of attention for obvious reasons, and rightfully so. But we also have to consider that there's so many other facets to what we do and how we help people.
And my very last question.
Yeah.
Where do you want the nation to go after this? Like, where do you want us to go moving forward? Where do you hope to see us go moving forward?
I'd love to see some established standards at the federal level, nationwide, right? Because our training is at this level here in California. And then depending on where you're at in the country, you're going to have different amounts or different levels of training, right? Which is unfortunate for those communities, but it's also unfortunate for the officers who are trying, or they go into this profession with noble reasons, right? They truly want to help people. But if you don't...
We don't think they're all bad.
Thank you for saying that.
Do you think that cops obviously should be held accountable within your guys' own precinct?
Absolutely. Here's the thing. The one thing that good cops hate most is bad cops.
Yeah.
Because they make our jobs miserable. Absolutely miserable. Do you think I want to be out here and have my people, because you all are my people, because this is my community, yell at me, scream at me, tell me to fuck off, and throw rocks at me and all kinds of other things at me? That's not what I want. So I want to be able to go to somebody's house when they call and help them mediate whatever issues that they have. If there's a victim, that I take a report and that I find the person who did it to them. Because when people call, that's when we respond. All these calls for service, we go there because people are calling for us, okay? Yeah, we do make proactive stops here and there, but generally speaking, the majority of our contacts are due to people actually calling for us and asking for us to come out.
What is your message to the bad cops?
The message?
Yeah, to the bad cops. To the bad police officers.
Boy.
Because that's a part of holding
right.
Holding
Absolutely. If you can't maintain a level of integrity, then you don't have to be here. Because we don't want you here. Right? The community doesn't want you here. The officers don't want you here. Because you're just bad for everybody, all the way around. Okay? So, and we at SAC PD, I think this profession as a whole has gone through huge evolution over the decades. And we've had to, because we want to maintain the integrity of this profession. So we are doing our best to weed out those who are destroying the integrity of this, of what we do. I mean, because it breaks down the public trust, right?
Yeah.
Which then makes my job harder. And I want for people to believe that when I show up, that I'm really there to help people, not have them question my intentions. That's what we all hope for.
Thank you.